Wassail Beautiful People. So, we get a little bit of a smoky Palo Santo cleanse. And I just want to show you, look, the cutest, tiniest little cup to stand it in. It's like something a pixie drinks from. So, new moon in Leo. And to me, it's a fascinating moon because for the last few Leo moons, every time the moon's passed through Leo, there's been a real sort of tension. And it's interesting that this is the first moon where there will be a new moon followed by its direct opposite full moon. Whereas all year we've been the full moon followed by its direct opposite new moon. So there was something a bit out of whack. So this is a chance to get back into the flow. But I think it's going to be a problematic moon. It feels to me very much like it's a kind of ego rebirth for various different reasons. So we're going to get a lot of noise trying to interrupt us throughout this message. So, confidence is the key to success is the usual new moon. And I'm showing you that card because I'm not actually going to use the Moonology cards. But I just wanted to point out that the ordinary energy is about confidence, ego, comfort. But there's something about this one that's a reset. So, the moon and the sun will be in conjunction, passing in front of each other at 16 degrees of Leo. And that's 8-8 portal. So it's the Lion's Gateway portal, which is 8 and 8, creating 16. And that's the degree point which both the sun and the moon will be at. So we have Mercury also there at 23 degrees of Leo, and the MC is also there. So there's kind of like a very small magical stellium. But actually, there are some more interesting things going on. So when you divide a chart, when you see a chart, it has a series of planets above, and then it has another series below, because you mark the horizon. All the planets that travel above, they're all the planets that are kind of on show. All the planets below are the ones that are kind of in the shadows, giving you the clues as to what's going on beneath the surface of us. And this really is a moon that's about personal work. It's about the ego. And also, the ascendant is in Scorpio. So it's calling for a death and a rebirth that's to do with our ego. So I'm just going to tell you who's in the descendant part, who's in the lower half in the shadows. There we have Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Chiron, Neptune, Chiron and Uranus. So that's the order that they come in. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, the first 5, so Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune and Chiron are all in retrograde. So below the surface is this energy of all of these planets singing. Now, because we had the full moon in Aquarius just almost 2 weeks ago, but it will be when this new moon happens, that was in the reading, that turned out to be the kind of masculine energy being compressed. And this one that comes after, the second full moon, will be this rising area. So there is this sense that we're heading towards the turning point when Gaia, Uranus, turns retrograde. Stationary on the 20th, retrograde by the 21st, 22nd. So what's above? What's shining and what's on show? What's on public display? And here's a really interesting thing, and this is part of the theme of this new moon. That ding-dong spine and nervous system, which is why it gets on your nerves. So we have Black Moon Lilith and Ceres both at 2 degrees of Gemini. So we're really looking at some kind of illuminating of repressed shadows within the soul. And then we have the sun and the moon, obviously on show, Mercury, Mars, and Venus. So there's a completely different lineup of inner planets against these bigger cosmic threads that are rising up. So there's also 2 yods. What's a yod? A yod is the finger of God. So it's when planets line up in a beautiful isosceles triangle. So we have 1 yod, which is Mercury, 23 degrees of Leo. And then we have down at the bottom Pluto at 25 degrees in Capricorn and Neptune in 22 degrees of Pisces. So that's this sense of a death and a rebirth of some kind of health delusions, because Mercury often represents health, and you can read charts for people where you look at where Mercury is and where Mercury is going to look at the health of things. So Mercury, as we know from the reading I did a few weeks ago on the kind of rumba that goes on between those planets, there's a sense that Mercury is now getting ready to overtake Mars, and then it's going to retrograde back and forward. So there's this energy of, again, that changing in terms of the aspect of the fires within. And actually, this new moon, this Lion's Gateway portal, has 13 fire elements, 8 earth, 3 air, and 3 water. Now that's interesting because for a long time we've had a lot more air going on. So this is very much a kind of fixed fire in many ways, but it's also that notion of a test, a challenge. Can you break through things that are fixed within your frequency? So the other yod is between the MC point and then Saturn at 9 degrees of Aquarius and Chiron at 12 degrees of Aries. So that's kind of like pushing up your wound and allowing you to bring it right to the midpoint, sort of in the heavens, to expose something that needs to be changed. And Saturn is really working not in a restrictive way, but in a giving, benevolent way. So what else do I want to say before we go in? Oh, the whole chart is a seesaw. So it's really kind of like swinging from one end to another. So it's that notion of turning everything on its head and readdressing and resetting how we think about things. So I also want to mention a couple of other things which we're going to do in the reading. But there's a lot of oppositions going on. Now, when you have oppositions, they can be exact, as well as all the other things like conjunctions, squares and trines. But there's an opposition taking place between Mercury and Jupiter. And it's called an applying opposition because it will apply itself in 2 days after the moon, when Mercury catches up to the exact 0 orb point of opposition. So this again is talking about from the shadows, Jupiter is expanding. What do I want to call it? Say it's because it's coming up to health. It's like bringing up the shadows that keep us feeling sick, or keep us in a victim mode, or keep us not in our best health. So Jupiter's trying to lift those to the surface so that you can almost voice them to release them, but it's to do with health, and that's an applying transit at the moment. So we're going to begin with Lilith and Ceres because they're bang on conjunction at this point on 2 degrees of Gemini. So I'm just going to put my book over there. So sorry, I'm just going to bring my book back. Ceres is D. And Lilith is A. So you can look at that as a fourth or a fifth. It's a fifth if you put the D at the bottom. and then it's a fourth if you do it the other way. Fourths are supposedly, according to Pythagoras, the perfect cosmic interval. Both fourths and fifths are called perfect because they run in parallel. So there's this wonderful open fourth taking place between Lilith and Ceres. Ceres is the sacral. Ceres is the mother. Ceres is the seat of our soul. And Ceres goes in search of Persephone. And there's something about the Ceres searching frequency that is kind of asking us to search our shadows for our light. So Black Moon Lilith or Dark Moon Lilith is really key to this energy at the moment, because Lilith has for ages been in Taurus, and so now the polarities being open now that Lilith is in Gemini, and it's making a big difference. So let's settle down with you see, I was going to use the mystical shaman and Odin, but that wasn't the original plan. So on the split, the curse and source. So let's just give one shuffle and then another rifle. So, oh, look! I knew that card was going to come out because Olga has the actual thing that he's holding here, and I thought if he turns up, we'll give the shamanic raffle a little bit of a moment. So, anyway, let's rifle them again. That was clever, wasn't it? And again. So, what do we want here? Let me just check the book. We want a card for Lilith and a card for Ceres. A card for Lilith and a card for Ceres, and they're both in Gemini at 2 degrees. Card for Lilith and a card for Ceres. The card for Lilith, Tree of Life. Right, there's a cement mixer come on now, so I'm getting the feeling she's stirring. So, can we have please a card for Ceres? Card for Ceres. Oh, witness. So immediately I'm being told it's not about the seat of the soul, it's about tuning in to the energy of Dark Moon Lilith, Black Moon Lilith. So tuning into your shadows to witness what's behind you, they're saying. What's behind you? What is it that you're scared to turn around and look at? Turn around and witness it. So let's get an Odin to go with these. So, for Lilith, for lovely Lilith, for lovely Lilith. There is a card that's down, but there's also one that flips. I'm not going to take it, but I'm just going to show you Jotunheimr. It's something big. Oh! Look, I've always said Dark Moon Lilith is no different to hell. Goddess of the underworld. And look, there's something about this. It's life force. It's tree of life force. Little baby Osso's just sat next to me and trumped. Stinks. He's not very well. So, Ceres. What's Ceres? We've got another card for Ceres. Ceres is the journey. The unawakened. Open your eyes. You can't witness your growth unless you open your eyes. So that's an interesting message. Open your eyes to see. So we're going to go to the tarot and put down 3, hopefully, and see what the 3 bring. So I'm being told there's no shine, there's no light without darkness. You can't have one without the other. Oh, right, so we have one tarot. It's union. You've got to create a union in this conjunction frequency between the seat of your soul and Lilith. You've got to invite Lilith in to your sacral. And it's fiery, burnishing. What else would Lilith like to say? I feel like it's like Ceres is inviting Lilith round for tea. But there's something about Lilith. It's like Lilith's going to redecorate. So Lilith, what else are you up to? She's giving it all in piecemeal effect. Ooh, what's she up to? She's looking at your past. She's looking at what restricts you. She's looking at the devil energy, the swelgeness, as I've been calling it, with the runes. I actually haven't got the runes today. Might have to get them. We'll get them out in a minute. So, it's interesting. I'm being told by the left testicle that this is all to do with Uranus. Gaia. So, it's a preparation. So this moon has a really interesting feature. Let me just go to my book where I made some notes. So, Gaia, Uranus, in Taurus, is sending energy all the way up to Venus in Virgo. And Venus and Mars are both in Virgo. And that should feel good, only there's something about it that's not quite, because Venus is not usually very happy in Virgo. But usually when Mars and Venus are in the same house, that's fine. The problem is I feel the energy of Mercury chasing. Mercury is trying to catch up, like it's having a bit of a problem with Mars. And we've had a little reading about that. And it's not really a problem, but I feel like Mars thinks it is still at the moment, because Mars is still being a bit rogue. Sorry, I'm just having to move my legs. So, there goes baby Lenin. So, that's going up to Venus. So from Gaia, Uranus, to Venus, good energy. And then from Venus down to Pluto in Capricorn. And then from Pluto to Neptune. So there's something about busting the frequencies of emotions, of they're saying of aspects of poor self-respect, but doing that in a good way. Also moving and buzzing through aspects of they're saying sort of like the financial systems around the world. Sort of speculation with money. So they're giving me the sense of there being an energy of a kind of like a run on money, and then it suddenly is going to head down to Pluto, which is death and rebirth, and then it's going to actually, the death and rebirth of Pluto, that does link in at the moment to the Pluto return on global banking. So it's all going to feel quite positive. I've got to shift my legs again, I'm not sitting comfortably. So, and then it's moving into a sort of delusion of Neptune. But the point of it is, it will feel quite good, even though it's wrong. No, that's weird. But the same thing can apply to your own energies of self-respect, feeling like a victim, all of those. It's good energies. It's moving through to bring you into a space of possible delusions and illusions so that you can break through them as we move towards the next full moon. So let's get the next card. From Lilith. There she goes with her single card. So let's see, Tree of Life. This is, Lilith is the key frequency. It's kind of interesting because when you look at, on this moon, this new moon, there are 3 planets in rulership. The Sun is in Leo, that's in rulership. Neptune is in Pisces, that's in rulership. And also Saturn is in Aquarius, that's in rulership. But we're really getting this energy of Yggdrasil. And this really is your own personal Yggdrasil. This is the energy of you. And if you haven't seen it, I'll try and remember to put a link in it. But Founders of Light did a lovely video about personal Yggdrasils. And I haven't watched it yet, but he also has done one that's all to do with Ur for the Rune Rakers. But my signal's been so bad, I've not been able to get things to download properly. But that's my job this afternoon, to try and get an internet connection and dig into some work. So, there's another statistic that I'm just being reminded to look at. Some things that are magical. Oh, it is, you see. Gaia, Uranus, is at 14 degrees of Taurus, but it's actually at 1444, which for me, I always find a very personally empowering number, as does Sasha, you know, who does the fire Reiki. There's an interesting turn of card. So, please, Ceres. Ceres. Oh my goodness, Ceres. Ceres is witnessing Lilith doing a love healing on us. So, Ceres begins with the Ace of Cups, pure energy, like a new webbing being woven, almost spilling out, uncontrollable, and that's a healing, which is Jupiter in Libra, the Four of Swords, which is a very powerful healing at the moment because of the fact that we're in air frequency, and it's followed by the Two of Cups. I mean, and seriously, energy-wise, Ceres is ready to transform everything about your life. Everything about your life. So let's put a rune on that then. Let's get the runes out of here. We'll have a rune for Lilith. Where's Lilith taking us then? Where's Lilith taking us then? Well, we've actually got 2. Ul and Fe. This is a very healing energy. We called this in our joint reading that I did with Robin Ream. This was dark medicine. And that really is very much what this New moon feels like, it feels like you've got to be in touch with your dark medicine. And then Fe. I have yet to watch Reem's video on this, which I'm also going to do this afternoon, but Feo or Fe is livestock or prosperity, but what they're saying this is in terms of now is it's livestock as in not animals that run wild and free, but animals that you fence in and keep as sort of private possession. So it's really talking about what are you going to fence in to your sacral. It's like coming in, letting out all those old creatures that are kind of, you know, sick and a bit sad and a bit drought ridden. And what are you going to replace them with? How are you going to replenish the kind of farmyard of your soul, I guess, is a way of looking at it. So that's those. And I think I'm going to put the cards back for each one, because I think it's interesting to see what will come as we move on to the next. So next we're going to do the sun and the moon. They are also in conjunction, and as you remember I said, at 16 degrees of Leo. The sun and the moon at 16 degrees Leo. See, I sit there in the mornings and I plan all the details and I go through all the charts. And today I noticed that there was an error that I put in ages ago where I put in Ceres going retrograde at completely the wrong time. And Ceres isn't retrograde. I thought it went retrograde on the 24th of July, but it didn't. It goes on something like the 11th of October. And I'm not sure how that happened, but when you're dealing with astrology, there's so many stats that you're working with. Sometimes you just slip into the wrong zone. But it's an interesting story, changed, because I've been reading it one way where it's part of an addition, but actually Saturn, Jupiter and Pluto start to come out of retrograde just as our sacral, Ceres, goes into retrograde and starts to sing its own tune as we reach the balance point. So I'm quite excited about the fact that there was an error, because it's giving a better narrative. So the sun and the moon are the sun, E, solar plexus, A for the moon. So another perfect fourth. So, and they are a little perfect fourth portal that doesn't open between the planets, but opens by the application of the two. So we will begin again with the mystical shaman. I'm getting hot now. I can feel a download energy. So, can we please have a card for the sun and a card for the moon? That's 3 cards. Really, no, I'm going to show you them and then I'm putting them back. So it's stand still, which is very sunny. Stand still and look at your demons and let them go. It's the message that was there already in the conjunction of Ceres and Lilith. So can I please just have 1 card for the sun? Can we please have 1 card for the sun? 1 card please for the sun. 1 card please for the sun. And 1 for the moon. And 1 for the moon. Oh, moon of Alabama. Right, again, it's given 3 cards, so I'm just going to show them to you and then I'm going to take them away. The upper world is asking you to look at the child, and the ancient ones are here to support it. This is like masses of kind of high priestess behind the veil energy asking you to reassess your inner child. So the sun card's on the floor down here. The sun is the global magic. 33. It's the master number of the Earth, the 3D world that we live in. So can we please have one card for the moon? We've got one trapped, but I'm not taking it. I'm just showing you the energy. Corn, 10, completion, energy, change. So the moon, please, the moon. One card for the moon. Any one of my spirit totems. Oh, look, that card's got stuck between my arm. The moon. Oh, it's come back. Let go. Transform. Magical transformation. Oh, it's the ego. This is the point of the ego. It's a magical transformation. A change. Remember I said about Jupiter bringing up these shadows. We're coming to that in a minute because I'm doing them as separate parts. Let's just pop into Odin. He's in a Densk now. Just so you know, keep an eye on him. So, Odin and the 9 realms. What do you want to say about the sun? What's the frequency of the solar plexus sun doing? Got a card down there. Boom! Thor is in the house. Crashing. That's powerful. That's really powerful stuff. It's Thor Odinson, because he's the son of Odin. Which is also Rob's new channel name, which I like. So, and the moon. What's the moon's doing? What's the moon's doing? I tell you what, the heat. It's not warm in here, but the heat coming through. You see, that's the one I want. This one down here, I don't want, but I'm showing you it. It's about, this is talking about how the cosmos, you know, the orbs of the planet have a fertile notion of what you could be. So, what is the moon? Irwar, you. Irwa, it's interesting. This is really, both of these are like the veil of spirit. The curtains are being parted on both these cards. And it's massive. Ancient, massive. Oh, we have the ancient ones. So there's something really big cosmically tuning through us. Where are those? So, sun, what's the sun up to? What is the sun up to? Sun, 3 cards please for the sun. Oh, I got a bit carried away with itself, the sun. So, what has failed before can now change, because the power of spirit's behind it. Princess of Swords, a new energy of drawing something together. What's it drawing together? Lilith and Ceres, your shadows and your light. And then we have the moon, and just down here on the floor, the High Priestess. I'm getting that sense of, because of this symbol of magic, the sun is allowing the illumination of that frequency that I've been calling white moon Lilith occasionally. So it's when you face your dark shadows, you can flip round the moon and shine a different energy. It's like all the hidden emotions can sort of work their way through, flip round and reveal themselves differently in a kind of ego reset. So let me just look at the numbers. Okay, there's nothing singing loudly in the numbers. So the moon. What's the moon doing as the sun transforms it with Lilith? There's a really strong presence of Lilith. What's the moon feeling? The moon's feeling this energy of, I'm hearing inevitability. It's like it can't go wrong. I'm being drawn to the flames of the rose winds, there's a thing here called the Rosa de Vente or something, which is a very old large ground compass that's to do with navigation. So the sun is illuminating some kind of navigation through emotions that couldn't be worked into the real world before. So, oh, there's the numbers. I knew there was something. 33 and 44. I knew they were telling me there was something that was matching. And when I looked, I couldn't see it. So, this is ancestors. It's like we all need to accept that Lilith is everyone's ancestor because she's first woman. You know, she was the first wife or first woman created alongside Adam, and then she didn't want to play ball because she was told to do everything Adam said, and she wasn't having that because she was his equal. And that's an energy that's within all of us. It's a kind of an approach of no nonsense. You know, if someone brings some kind of bollocks to you, you just say no. So, what do we have? Oh, look, 9 of Cups. Navigating towards dreams. Oh, Empress frequency. Now, this really is... We've got... Look, seriously... This is big energy. We've got the moon, we've got the high priestess, we've got the empress. So you've got the esoteric veil being parted, as I said earlier, by both Thor and Iwa, Yew-tree. Ancient energy in that Yew reading that I just did. And that was Scorpio. And the ascendant right now is in Scorpio. So Scorpio's like first house. The whole theme of this moon is death and rebirth. Yeah, it's in the ascendant. It's an ego rebirth, repressed shadows in the soul. But it's to do with, there's a sense of Mercury and health hidden within all of this. Jupiter in Pisces. That's interesting in itself for the 9 of Cups, because Pluto will move back into Pisces when it comes out of being retrograde in Aquarius, because it was in Pisces and it's just stepped back into Aquarius to join Saturn. And they, remember, were that which mutated everything to the new air epoch for the next 200 years. So all the great conjunctions will be in a triangle of air frequencies. So we're talking here about taking dreams and bringing them into the real world. They're saying to me, they want to say that you're going to be seeing a lot of ancestors in dreams. Oh, that's why my mother turned up in a dream last night. And she kept saying, she was pointing to tangled knots, and they were kind of purples and blues and magenta. And she was saying they're really lush. Oh, it was the colour of that card. So, ancestors coming through dreams to guide you. The magic of ancestors to reset things within you. One more card, please, to the moon. One more card, please, to the moon. coming out of the old and coming into the new. 8. I know it's the 10 of swords, but you only see the 8 swords. The 2 extra ones are coming through here, and they're saying to me, 1 sword is Ceres and 1 sword is Lilith. Ceres and Lilith are cutting the membrane between your old astral dream realm. There's something they're saying about how the membrane, the connection to the world of dreams is being transformed. And if the world of dreams is transformed, this new language, that burning, the change of direction, the rose of the winds, air frequency, I'm getting it now. Plus you've got Princess of Swords, pulling in the new spaces, creating a new dimension. The astral realms, the storytelling in the astral realms is going to transform in some way. Let's get a rune on this. Sun and the Moon rune. Be nice if they came out. I say that. I don't know what I'd say about them then. So, what's a rune for the sun, please? Can we have a single rune for the sun? Can we have a single rune for the sun? Can we have a single rune for the sun? We can't have a single rune for the sun, but we can have 3 runes for the sun, apparently. Oh! The sun did come out. The sun came out with the night. So this is about the flow, and this is about the blockages on the flow. And between the two, the runes are giving us bliss, win. So there's a portal of bliss. That's what this is being opened. That's fascinating. Let me just look at them for a minute. Oh, 8 and 16. The 8-8 portal. The sun is at 16 degrees of Leo. How cosmic is that? The night has no number, Nate. But there's something about undoing the blockages of your shadows. It's very clear. You have to undo the blockages on your shadows. And somehow you've got to let Jupiter raise this energy within you. So, let's move on to the next aspect of this very important new moon in Leo. Leo. So, I know you're all doing it. I can hear you all singing, "In the jungle, the mighty jungle." Well, I wish you wouldn't do that song, please. Because I don't need that as an earworm. It's bad enough the one we got at the moment in this house. Right, so let's pull these cards back and let's move on to, I can't remember which one it is, but I think I don't think anything. Let me just look. Let me just tell you, let's get to the right space. We're next looking at Venus in opposition to Neptune. And this is another applying frequency. It will actually apply fully into exact opposition on the 9th. So the day after the moon. And there's something about this that's self-delusions of love. Well, at least that's what I think it is. Cards might say otherwise. So, let's begin with Venus in opposition to Neptune. Neptune is obviously delusions, clouds, smoke, fog, things you can't see about yourself, things you believe about yourself, things about how you love yourself and love others, what you seek from others. And this is a really uncomfortable frequency. It's not a happy energy, so it's a challenge. Oh, look. Luminous Warrior and Sacrifice. Let go, find your Luminous Warrior. That came with that card of the child earlier. So, I've got the cards upside down. So, we're going to have Venus. A card for Venus, please. A card for Venus. It's Ul. Venus is watching. That's interesting. What's Venus watching of Neptune? Neptune, me old mucker. The fires of Neptune. 3919. So that's like a healing. I feel like there's something. There's an energy here of a hidden. I want to say hidden moon. Oh, my foot's just got stuck. Ow! I don't know how I did that. That's very much what this is about. There's an energy of something hidden. I need you to pull that back towards me, or you're too far away. The owl has got a Sun and Mars aspect. There's also a Pluto, but there's this kind of Death Star planet. It's very Star Wars. But it's in white. It's like the ghost of a Death Star. Ghost of a Death Star, and the fires, the passions within the heart that Neptune's hiding. Neptune, you see, I'm saying Venus is watching, but now they're saying it's Neptune is watching Venus. And Venus is watching the shadows, the fog. Venus is watching the fog of emotions that Neptune has put out there. So Venus, please. Venus, please. Venus, please. Venus, now Neptune. There we go. So Venus is down here and is Idun. Biome. Inner health. There's something about these red apples being unbitten passions, desires you've been too frightened to touch. They're showing me the image of a poisoned apple. So there are passions that you have that you feel if you were to bite into those passions, they would be poison apples, and that you would somehow, they would kill your spirit. And hugging and mugging, I know it's hugging and munning, but it's hugging and thugging and mugging. So there's something here about the bigger picture, the code. Oh, my knees. I really am getting a little bit too old to sit cross-legged for so long. There's something, I'm hearing the word sanctuary. Sanctuary from passions. But it's more, not so much sanctuary, but like hidden passions or hiding from passions. And there's something I'm hearing. I'm hearing a clock counting down to this cracking of a safe code, opening something. I didn't give you the notes for them. So. So you've got E flat of Neptune, F sharp of Venus, the higher heart. It's a love story. So it's a minor sixth or a minor third. So it's something deeply moving within the soul. Venus, Venus, Venus. Look, it's out again. We've just had that with the moon. It's a change of compass. It's air frequency. What's the change of... Oh! We're going to have a little bit of a card scatter. So we've got Two of Cups again, love. There is, I just said, love story. Transformation of emotions. Oh, looky, look. This is about, I don't know yet. I wanted to say this is about a change in your molecules. An alchemy of the real elements of passions. But somehow it's like these passions have got to rewire themselves into your molecules. It's like a 24-hour period where you need to look at your lost passions. I'm not saying look back at someone that you knew when you were a teenager and go back. It's about your lost passions for you, your lost passions for life. What was the thing that gave you zeal that you no longer even remember very well? Or when you look at it, it frightens you. They're making me look at the bottom of the deck. It's the sun. This is coming to everybody. This change of frequency. 119. 119. Oh, 19. It's this. It's the fire. It's the passions can return. So let's have a look at Neptune. Neptune, me old mucker, what are you up to, mate? Prince and Princess. So there's something very, very fiery. I said there's 13. Creative passions returning. Remembering over this period from the new moon until the 9th, when that opposition gets really, it's almost, so they're saying it's almost like there's an even greater fog. So during that 24-hour period, really focus on passions that you've let go of. Change. It's an energy frequency of change. We know it's an ego reset. And that's coming underneath the two. Change the love for yourself and you change your love for others is what I'm hearing. And change. Mary the Jewess, the alchemist. It's like it's saying, could we be any clearer with how you have to change aspects of your inner passions? What else would Neptune like to say? That's interesting, those two just spat out at the end. So, it's asking you to stop the worry. 5 of Pentacles. This is Mercury in Taurus. And we're doing Mercury next. So again, it's telling you that it's about a totality of the music of the spheres creating something. We've got Jupiter in this card. We've got Venus in this card. And this is the line of Venus. And this is Venus in Cancer. So loving yourself. And then we have Queen of Discs and Victory. So this Queen of Discs is coming across very much as the energy of Lilith. When I talked about the testicle and changing that energy, the focus of the good energy that was moving from Gaia, Uranus, to Venus, and then onto Pluto, and then onto Neptune. So there's a bigger energy in this opposition that's framed with the other two planets, Pluto and Gaia, Uranus. So they're trying to create the change. And they're almost breaking open your delusions. They're giving you a sense of seeing through blockages in this period so that you can look back on your past and clean it up and have victory. Jupiter in Leo. It's very much that energy of pulling the sun, pulling the moon. It's this portal, the Lion's Gateway portal is bringing you this chance to quite rapidly review energies of the past that you've lost, good energies. Oh, hang on, we need runes on those. Put them away already. Getting excited to do Mercury now with Jupiter, because that's the big dark shadows coming up. So, a rune please for Venus. There's two down there, but first of all, I just want to show you that one's come out again. Hemming in how you love yourself. Hemming in how you sit in your sacred space. So this is like bringing together Lilith, Ceres, and Venus. So that would be D major chord. Beautiful energy. Oh, look. So we have ulcer. This is the discomfort. This is the energy that has been floating around you. It's like the ulcer of the self, as in the shadows of yourself that you can't deal with. And look, there's something really beautiful about this movement of these two runes. I'm going to have to show Olga that one at some point because it's really interesting. Because although this is Kaun, it's also although it's also Kaun, which is divine spark. But it's the divine spark that brings you discomfort because it's not your true passion, but like a passion that you get caught up in. But there's something about this second. And look, this is the very first rune. So this comes backwards. It's almost like you've lost something. And that's what the cards were saying. Having lost your original younger passions for life. All this fire energy. And where's it heading? Look, it's that wonderful frequency of mirrored souls. Jena, Jena. That energy of twisting your life back together. Oh, and that's showing it. That energy of love, if you can fix your sacral, if you can sort your inner health, this energy is coming again, where your frequency sits with a new seed inside it of you that's no longer closed in as it is in the symbol where it looks like a D with a dot in it, which is thy, the Erdmasian, earthly power. This is about opening your sacral love to share with others. So that's very beautiful. Let's just have Neptune. Neptune's rune. Neptune's rune. Neptune doesn't want to give us one. Neptune's rune. Got it caught in my arm. There's two there, but let's see what this is. Weathercock. Neptune is being the weathercock. Neptune is, again, it's that energy of the rose of the winds. The compass is changing direction. This is the point in the zodiac. Because I said earlier, this is the point in which it will no longer be the full moon with its direct opposite new moon. It will be the new moon with its direct opposite full moon. And what's it changing its energies on? The shadows and the spear. Now, if you look at those two, there's something, the splitting open of the seed and new directions coming out in the four compass points of the spear. And it's spirit spearing you. So you can't. Oh, and that's 33, which was the card of magic earlier. To split apart and to have all your compass points. They're also showing me it with this card, just to bring in the energy of the similarity. It's like a victory of the self in the real world. thy power opening up so that you're in the real world, so that you can receive connection with another. And the shadows, the nid is 10. A completion of your shadows will bring about this new energy of sunshine. So that's Venus and Neptune. So now we're going to go to Mercury and Jupiter just to end this new moon reading. There's a lot going on. In fact, there's so much going on. I've scratched a little bit of the surface. There's so many more aspects. And what was really interesting is I can usually spot the portal. The only way in which I can talk about the portal this time, it's a personal portal, but it feels like it opens within the sun and the moon's conjunction together. It's not visibly there. It's like it's a test. It's an energy you've got to really focus to find. So, where's that? Deck. Let's put them all back separately so that they won't come out together again. We say that. It's not always the case, people. So let's see what we have left in the last part of this reading. Let's put those back over there. So Mercury and Jupiter, they're also applying their energies. Their orb will be 00 2 days after this new moon. So that's another energy that's growing for 48 hours. So, do I need to add anything else to that? No. So, let's start with Mercury and then a card for Jupiter. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Mercury and Mars. It's Jupiter and Mars really, but you know. I wanted to get Jupiter and Mercury, but my brain didn't connect quick enough. So, Mercury, what do you want to say about what's going on with this opposition with Jupiter? Because it feels like this is relating to health. Oh, as I said, health, a card splashed out. Ooh, it's community health. Mercury's working on community health. It's another code. That's interesting that these are two codes. The door opens on the 8th, and then the code for Venus and Neptune is the 9th, and the code for a community health change, and that's card 8. It's an 8 Lions Gateway portal. So Jupiter, what are you up to, Jupiter? What are you up to, Jupiter? There it goes. There's its card. Just finished doing that little shuffle. Smoky mirror. That's a perfect Jupiter frequency. It's 11. 47 is 11. It's the Earth grid itself bringing up shadows through the roots of our personal Yggdrasil trees. So, let's get an Odin in Odensk. Oh, missed. Oh, God, I've been talking a bit long. Sorry, folks. I'm telling you, this is fiery, burnishing stuff. Muspelhamir. This is Sutra. It's air frequency again, but this is such giant burning off. There's something being burnished away from the whole community that will begin to become realer after the 10th. There's that bell. Spine and the nervous system. Spine and the nervous system. And then the hour bell's an A for the moon. So, and then what's behind the smoky mirror of Jupiter? Elfamir. So we're going Mushbelmir, Elfamir. Fire, burnishing fires, burnishing off mistruths, changing the frequency of things, seeing through delusions, amplifying these frequencies. So, Elfamir. I love them elves. I do love a good elven ring, me. I'm telling you. It's full of magic. Elfin. I'm in Elfin. And I can't but... Oh, look at that lovely split with the Elfin. Star energy and love. You see, there's beautiful stuff coming, but you got to let go of the fear. You got to be prepared to change. Got to be prepared to move with the times, people. No calcifying. There's a lot of love. But it's got to start with a lot of love for you. Whole lot of love. Right, so Mercury. Nine of Swords. It's like divine. It's the pulling out of wounds. And that's this search for these shadows. They've got to be brought up. You've got to be able to face your shadows. All the swords are being pulled out. The bloodied pains that we've gone through throughout our life. Now is a moment to shift them. Getting a lot of getting a lot of really spinny back flippy cards there. It's the Tarot of Gymnastics. So look, the divine 9 of air is pulling out to clean the wounds. It's coming with the 4. So that's to clean and to heal. And that's the divine 13. That's an absolutely magical frequency number. Flowing with clarity for the collective. Mercury, healing the collective somehow. And then the sunshine for everyone. All the zodiac is around that sign of that sun. And then we've got 4 more cards. There's a new beginning coming, and then this very slow moving Prince of Discs. There's something about the Industrial Revolution in this card. I'm seeing big metal mechanical machinery. And again, images of the globe. Like the riches of the globe are being withheld. And this needs to be brought into a new frequency. So, and it will. It's, you know, it's bringing 3 of Cups, a flow. It's just more energy of great, wonderful emotions. But this Knight of Cups, which is the king in this deck, is holding up a healed sacral, a cup of sacral. His cup, his seat of the soul, is so overflowing that he can offer his loving frequency to the world at large, to the community. So, let's look at Jupiter and Jupiter and Mars. Jupiter is magenta. Jupiter is G. Oh, I didn't give you the notes, did I? See? I'm rubbish. So, Jupiter and Mercury. That's interesting. Semitone apart. G, the great big healing of the energy wings. There, cutting through like a knife, that is that fiery Mushbelhamir, sword of truth frequency, the 13 frequency of knives and swords coming in to bring us a new energy of love. So Jupiter up there in Elfhamir with your burnishing light. Jupiter with your burnishing light, mate. Jupiter with your burnishing light. Look, I'm putting these back every time. I'm putting them all back in separate places, and yet we're getting repeat cards. So, Jupiter is bringing wisdom. 12 frequency that's been hung on to has to change to the healing. Burnish the 12 to create the 13. So, knowing you're at that moment, accepting that you're ready to cut yourself down from the tree and get into life. They're making me say go back to the original Yggdrasil frequency as we began this reading. Then we have love again. This is Venus in Cancer. Loving the self. Learn to love yourself. Stop hanging around waiting for another to love you. Love yourself first. Jupiter's going to expand your ability to self-love. So that's 11 and that's 12. These together are 1, 2, 2. And then we have 9 and 10. So we've got 9, 10, 11, 12 actually in numbers. This is numerical. We've got Jupiter in Pisces. This Jupiter in Pisces is coming post-October time. But these are all set-up points to burnish yourself, to bring up new passions, to understand a different way to love yourself. And it's brim full of joy and the wheel of destiny. Fortune will change. Fortune will change. Just going to go to the runes. Because we've got to stop this, otherwise it'll never upload. I'm going to do it on my UK mobile, which costs a lot in data. Hey, look at that. Hang through. The Hanged Man. But this is talking about don't hang around from waiting for some kind of community assistance. Don't hang around. You have to burnish yourself. You have to create the changes. So, what's Jupiter's rune? Get down off them gallows. That's too many. That's like 8 cards. We just want one. We just want one from Jupiter with his big expansive joy deep under the ground at the roots of the Yggdrasil tree, and yet reaching all the way up to the light of Elfhamir at the very top of the 9 realms, the burnished sun beings. Right, there's 2, but the first one out was shadows. Jupiter is bringing up your shadows so that you can change them. Whoa, look. Jupiter is bringing up your shadows by applying fire energy. This is Querth. This is Querth. This is the magical ether frequency that's behind the life force in everything. This is the superpower rune that if you draw this on water and drink it, your senses are heightened. Maybe that's what you need to do. Draw these 2 symbols onto rune water, onto some water. Drink the water for the new moon is my suggestion. So this is Suilo, this is energy. This is moving between 2 frequencies. And they're saying to me this is like how you create the key from your shadows. Jupiter is offering you the frequency to build your key behind the shadows. So you open the space, so they're saying, do this one first. Draw this symbol on your water first, Suilo, and then draw this energy between. So you kind of want the zigzag to come all the way across the whole of that and fit this inside the zigzag so that it enlivens the energy, it fires up the energy and brings that. So amplify your shadows, bring them up, don't fear them. You know from the reading, your ancestors are behind you on this one. So, that's gorgeous. And I'm just going to, for the very end, just throw, I wasn't going to, but I'm going to throw some Moonology just to finish. And just see if the Moonology cards want to add anything at the very end. So, Moonology. I sometimes think they're not very good at it necessarily always, providing what you need. And other times they're just so beautifully perfect. And yet we get them out for moon readings and they're quite limiting. Look at the bigger picture. That's the hugging and the mugging, hugging and the thugging card. Full moon in Sagittarius. So look past this new moon, is what they're saying. Look past this new moon to the things that are coming. Full moon in Taurus, full moon in Capricorn. This is 3 full moons. So what they're saying to me is, you know, your dreams need a practical plan. The end of a tough cycle approaches. Look, this new moon is a chance to start new beginnings. Prepare yourself for the full moon in Aquarius on the 20th, Sunday the 20th. So look at the bigger picture. Full moon in Sagittarius. I'm not sure I said the time of the new moon at the beginning of the reading, it was so long ago. But it's at 13:49 GMT on the 8th of the 8th, obviously. So look at the bigger picture. Start to think about those passions that we talked about, the lost passions, the dreams that you want. The end of a very tough cycle is approaching, but this is all pointing towards, and that was my intuition at the very beginning, was that I was going to have to do this reading as a frequency of how this new moon is the first moon in the right order, where we go from new moon to its direct opposite, full moon. And actually, fire, earth, earth. So it's talking about fire and earth kind of mutating around the fixed earth in the middle. So you've got to almost change your old dreams for new. New dreams for old. Very Aladdin. New lamps for old, but you know what I mean. So there we go. And an Aquarius new moon. So we're all done. I'm all done. So enjoy yourself. I shall be back in a day or two with the next bit of research. I'll be doing some more trees as well, because I need to do some fruit bearing trees, and there's a few other Anglo-Saxon trees, and then we'll start to do a series of global trees in other countries and continents and places, so that we can look and learn from the trees all over the world. So anyway, wassail for now, and thank you everybody who's been sending tips. Wassail.